How's it going, ServiceNow folks? Ben Mills, ITAM Ranger with ServiceNow, bringing you a new video on some thoughts on IT asset management. Over the past few months, as we've continued to make videos on YouTube and speak with you guys during office hours, some of you have reached out to me on LinkedIn to discuss some of the obstacles that you've been bumping up against when getting your ITAM program off the ground or to the next level. So today, I wanted to speak to a common theme that I'm seeing and hearing as I read through your messages. So this is going to be a little change of pace in the type of content that we normally produce, but hopefully it is still valuable to you nonetheless. So I see these comments a lot. We've been doing asset management for a while, and we still haven't seen the value touted by all these other folks, right? Where's these millions of dollars of savings and operational efficiencies? Other comments include, asset management is a Herculean effort, right? But we only have 2 to 3 resources to cover our entire asset estate. Is it even feasible? And some of you, and a very common one is, in our organization, asset management is sought after as more of a reactive problem-solving tool within our organization. So this actually got me to thinking about my own career as a practitioner and thinking about the organizations that I worked for. And I know when I first started out, asset management was located under the branch chief of IT. Then I worked in an organization where the asset management team was under the procurement director. And then I worked for an organization where asset management was under hosting and engineering. After that, I worked for an organization where asset management was under enterprise service management, right? And it kind of begs the question, where should asset management live to be most effective? And I guess the answer is yes, because asset management is a very far-reaching discipline. Most departments in any organization could justify why an asset team belongs under their domain. But depending on where your asset management team is located, it could provide insight as to how your program is viewed within the organization. So let me ask you, how do you feel your organization or your ITAM program is viewed within your org? Is it viewed as an administrative function? Are you being asked to do things like, hey, I want you to go in and tag all this asset data with this marker so that we can reference it at a future date. We're not going to actively manage this data, but we're just marking this data for future reference. How about this one? I love this one. Hey, can you and your team go and tag these consumables? I know you only have 2 to 3 resources, but it's very important that we tag these consumables. Or here's an old classic one, right? Can you go out, get me a spreadsheet of all the devices with software so-and-so on it, because we now have a fire drill, right? Is your program something that is reactionary and full of administrative tasks? Or do you find that your organization looks at you as more of a strategic force? An organization or a program that underpins the business objectives across entities, across the entire organization. How do we get out of administrivia over into this strategic edge of an ITAM program? Well, I can tell you this, it's not something that a tool is going to be able to provide to you. This is going to require an asset manager, a process owner. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about a key step in creating a strategic ITAM program. At this portion of the video, I do want to level set. I'm not trying to offer a prescriptive order in which one should start an ITAM program. I'm merely highlighting a key step that I commonly see missed with asset managers trying to get their program to the next level, to that strategic level. There are many, many important components that need to be in place to have a strong ITAM program. Some of those components include an ITAM charter, and this is responsible for communicating the program's purpose and scope. But how do we know what this is? We all know that executive buy-in is crucial for securing resources and enabling the ITAM program to thrive. But how do we obtain this buy-in? How do we have that conversation? Implementing an ITAM system streamlines many of the operations of asset management activities. But what features are important in an ITAM system? Conducting a baseline inventory, this creates the managed data foundation that asset managers will oversee. But how do we know if we're managing too much or too little? The component, or that key aspect that we're going to be speaking about today, can assist in each of these aforementioned domains and help to position your ITAM program to be aligned strategically in the organization. And that key step is stakeholder identification and alignment. This is going to allow us insight into the value streams that departments across the organization desire most from the ITAM program. This information will drive the scope and mission documented in your ITAM charter. Understanding the value streams, understanding the problem statements of the stakeholders will help provide the so what, give you that importance of a successful ITAM program to communicate to your executives, which in turn is going to provide us with stakeholder engagement once executive management is bought in. Understanding the value streams of the stakeholders also going to show us the functional requirements that we're going to need from our ITAM system of choice, like ServiceNow's HAM and SAM. Understanding the value streams will also ensure that our baseline inventory is right-sized, that we avoid spending cycles managing data that is not necessary to provide value. So now that we set the stage with stakeholder identification and alignment, I would like to spend the rest of this video outlining the most common departmental stakeholders of ITAM, along with a few of the value propositions that an asset management program can provide, and then we'll be done. Up first, for our common ITAM stakeholders, we have contracts and procurement. This group looks at asset expense visibility, and they do cost control for the organization. And this is to enable things like total cost of ownership tracking and capital planning. Asset management can help to support this group by providing things like a review of hardware usage/spending and software license compliance positions to support annual resource planning. We can also help to drive accountability of software spend and contract terms by PO owner. And we can reconcile asset records and CI records with direct links back to POs for things like compliance issues. Up next, we have enterprise architecture, which provides the strategic design for an organization's technology landscape and enforces technology standards. From an ITAM perspective, we can support this group by providing visibility into license costs, counts, and usage of legacy applications. We can also provide visibility into functionally redundant technology assets. And we can provide asset lifecycle information to help plan for technology refreshes, migrations, or deprecations. Next up, we have the Cloud Center of Excellence. This is a cross-functional team that focuses on driving cloud adoption, governance, and best practices. Now, admittedly, sometimes this function also falls under the ITAM program, but I'm finding that nowadays the ITAM group and the CCOE are different entities. If they are different entities, ITAM can help this group out by providing visibility into the chargeback cost of cloud services. We can provide a process for the provisioning of cloud assets to maximize visibility and cost control. And we can also provide monitoring alerts for unauthorized cloud assets. Another very important persona is security operations. And they function to improve an organization's ability to detect, respond to, and recover from security threats in real time. We can help support this group from an ITAM perspective by providing visibility into usage of applications containing PII, visibility into and processes for reporting missing and stolen information assets. That's a very important one. And the identification of outdated and/or unsupported assets. Another ITAM stakeholder and partner is finance operations. They function to sustain the financial health of the organization through activities like financial planning, reporting, tax planning, and internal audits. Asset management can support this group by helping them avoid unwanted IT vendor and auto renewals. We can support the chargeback process with software license usage, maintenance, and support costs for software. And we can also help to forecast software license and hardware spend based on future demand. And we have infrastructure operations. They function to ensure that all the foundational systems and services that support business operations are running smoothly, securely, and efficiently. And ITAM can help this group out by giving them cost comparisons between managing applications on premises versus the cloud, which is very common nowadays and has been for the past 10 years. Ensure all server deployments are properly licensed and identifying license needs. I don't know how many times there's been a server upgrade to a more powerful server with more cores that's just inflated license costs, right? And also maintain an accurate inventory of IT assets deployed in data centers. I only covered a few use cases per stakeholder. Don't get me wrong, there are even more. There are even more stakeholders that we didn't get into. What about human resources who require asset availability for employees or contractors being hired in the coming financial year? Then there's application owners who need help aligning technology costs and investments to help better support business outcomes. The GRC is an important one, where we can document control gaps in ITAM oversight to enhance risk visibility. The project management office may need help forecasting software consumption for future projects. And there could very well be more that we haven't touched on today, but the point is, taking the time to understand where your program fits into the success of your stakeholders is paramount to a strategic ITAM program. And with that, let's close. Thank you for sticking with me this long. I know that this was a bit of a different video and that for you seasoned practitioners, this was more of a review. But for those of you who've reached out to me because you're a newer practitioner or you're an individual that was suddenly thrust into the world of ITAM because your management said so, I hope this information was helpful and that it gave you an approach to taking your program to the next level. I wish you all the success, good luck out there, and we'll see you in the next one.